welcome back to another episode of NFT Artist Spotlight, hosted by AstroZero. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Thanks.
Today on AstroZero Twitter Spaces, we have a really fantastic Polygon artist. He's going to be talking about his collection of NFT Army of Robots. Really looking forward to this one for the past few days. It's Bots of Cog. So welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and coming and talking to our community. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much and really like the show you do. So I listened into a lot of other AMAs and figured I should get myself on here. So, yeah.
Well, it was awesome of you to accept it. I appreciate it. I really dig your project because I love robots. Can you give us a little bit of an overview of your project and what side that you were going to create robots as opposed to a lot of people that create like animal NFT projects?
Well, yeah. So a bit about me. My name's Joel. So I created Bots of Cog, and just to kind of give like an idea of the project that I'm doing right now. Essentially, it's a story-based PFP kind of project, but this story is actually going to unfold into what I call an unfolding narrative. But it's actually I call it that, but it's actually an alternate reality game. So essentially what that is it's going to be a story that jumps through different platforms, various different things, either in real life or online or metaverses, things like that, different platforms on each one. Essentially like a scavenger hunt. So the whole story doesn't just get written out to you in one piece. Some of them, like my gamer friends, the way I explained it was like, you know, those games that like kind of you walk around in an environment and you just keep picking up notes and they kind of give up pieces of story bits and lore, and they're all written in different ways or something like that. And then eventually by the end of the game, you've got like this whole entire story that you've combined in your head. That's essentially what I want to do with my project. I started it, the first generation of robots is 2,000 robots, and I have about 150 what I call activated, which is just minted ones. I mint them on my webpage, and then I list a few on OpenSea as well. But essentially, yeah, people that hold a robot get to become part of the story. They get to, you know, participate. Their actions when they participate actually kind of helps me design the project. So I am able to scale it to a point where it could be a globally interactive project, and obviously I need more help with that, but it is something that I could plan for. I was just hoping to kind of get the story out in the first year or so and then just kind of build it from there and see what happens. And so far people have been really digging the bots. And to go back to the other question, the inspiration for the bots, I actually, my background is of fine arts background. I'm not like a super fine arts artist, but like I love the comics. I love, you know, drawing, animation, things like that. I did a lot of clay animation as a kid, and like when I finally went to college, they were like, you need to do a body of work and write a whole bunch of reasons and, you know, explain out your ass why you're doing what you're doing. And so I learned to bullshit for a little while, and then I was like, I'm tired of this. I want to do something that I want to do. So after like doing all these, you know, like hardcore projects that I thought were super meaningful at the time, which, you know, you look at them now and you can almost cringe. But like I just started doing robots. I was like, you know, I liked the 1950s. I liked, you know, a lot of cartoons growing up. I liked all the 80s movies. Like the nostalgia was there for me. And I just decided like, oh, why don't I just start building on that, create a world that I'm interested in? Because as I wrote papers in college, I found that, you know, those years that I'm fond of, though the view of the past and the present and the future were all very positive. Like the future vision in the 50s and 60s, like New World's Fair, like kind of stuff, like robots are going to be your butler. We're all going to have flying cars and jetpacks, and we're all going to be happy go lucky people. But then all of a sudden this like turn happens, and then all of a sudden now it's like, well, pretty much everything is just the end of the world, Terminator kind of thing. We're all screwed. We're all fucked. And we're all going to die. So it's like, where did this like shift happen? And that always interested me. So I was like, why don't I take this like classic, you know, cute, lovable kind of robot that has this positive future vibe, but then tongue-in-cheek twist it into this like narrative of post-apocalyptic, like like I say, tongue-in-cheek kind of narrative on that, like reflect back what the world thinks the future is going to be like. And so that I kind of just from there all stemmed together to create a world that for the last 10 years since I graduated college, have been building this world and making crazy notes and just becoming kind of an insane person. And a lot of the people around me were like, don't really ask me about it because I just go nuts about it and go off on tangents. So I was like, well, you know what? I should put this project into something that's meaningful to me. And like I've done a lot of other art projects with this, but NFTs just kind of started to scream at me like, this is the platform you need to do this on. This is how you will be able to get it to a wider audience and, you know, get feedback. So I figured, why not do it in a organic way that allows me to grow? So here I am. Long answer, but yeah, hopefully that gives you what you need.
Long answers are good. It means I have less work to so I'm okay with long answers. What made you pick Polygon over other blockchains?
Well, other than like, I mean, the obvious was the cost of gas fees for me. The one major point for me was I wanted an army of robots. So for me to launch, like, you know, I was going to do a 10,000 strong collection right off the bat. People were like, no, like maybe slow it down and see where this goes first. And I was like, well, I still want to do a large collection. So that's why I ended up choosing 2,000 for the first little generation. But I guess like, yeah, I was looking at that and I was like, for that many robots and to launch a contract, like I was going into it with like, you know, $20 in my pocket. So I was like, I don't think I can afford launching a contract at the time. It was around $150 or so to do that, even on the slowest gas times. And I was like, no, that doesn't work for me. And then I looked at, you know, Solana, and I was like, this is pretty interesting, but the type of people that were buying and selling that I had, you know, come across, I guess topically, I didn't really dive in super deep into their Polygon not their Polygon, but their chain. Sorry, but I found that the work just kind of didn't jive with me. And then I went into these Polygon spaces, and I was like, okay, well, this is pretty cool. A lot of the people that are doing work are kind of doing similar, like not exact same projects, but there's a lot of creativity I found. And then I did my research based on just, you know, the technical side. I was like, okay, well, why are people choosing these ones over this one? And just the technical side of how Polygon was working and how they planned to kind of support everybody was what drew me in. And then after that, I was like, well, you know, they seem to support most, like universally, they seem to be the most open, in my opinion. So that's why I ended up going to Polygon, and I haven't regretted it since.
So this is your first project that you've worked on as far as NFTs go. Have you started, or is this?
Back in like, well, this is my first like, yeah, project. Like when I first heard about NFTs, like early 20 or mid 2018, by 2019, I actually kind of minted a few pieces of work, and like they were all pixel art and like small things. I started to work on a project that was called the Arcade Underground, just because I'm also a arcade tech and repairman, and I sell, buy, and trade them kind of as a hobby as well. So yeah, I run an arcade. So with that, I started to take my knowledge of how many games I knew about and was making them into 3D models and making them into little packages of like G.I. Joe packages, and then was going to make a whole bunch of different ones with the different artwork on the card or cardboard backing of the packaging. And then I found out that it was like, you know, that's a lot of time to consume into it. And I didn't really have any kind of drive for it. So I ended up making like maybe 2 or 3, gave up on it and just kind of put things on the shelf. And then, you know, like I said, I finally came back to the robots and was like, you know, this works better. So I call this my first project for sure. But I have dabbled in the trying to do single one-of-one sales.
So as like a new artist, when you first get into NFTs and you get a collection up and running, do you feel like Ethereum is almost shoved down your throat as a new artist, and it doesn't really feel like there's other options as somebody new in it.
I feel like that's just growing pains of just being the whole thing being new, not even myself. Just because you can there's a gap. Someone, I think it was Dave that was mentioning it, or Jay, or one of them in the other rooms, that that it bugs them that you can mint in Matic, and then you go to OpenSea and you have to buy an ETH or wrapped ETH, and there's no option to like buy Matic, and it's like that's up to OpenSea really, and that's up to all the other open marketplaces to kind of have that ability to interact with each other, and I don't know why it's not already there, because that's kind of the thing of Web3 is like the number one thing is that it's like able to transfer across everything. So without that, that's that's kind of important. But I found that's a small barrier. But the people that are interested in this market, in this community, they seem to be willing to pass that barrier, and then are okay once they get past that. But it is definitely something that when I've tried to onboard people, like even my friends that aren't well versed in crypto, they're like, "Oh, I'd love a robot. I'd love a robot." I'm like, "Okay, well, like, I'll just give you one." And they're like, "No, no, no. I want to experience buying my first NFT." And I'm like, "Really? Okay, well, I'll help you with that." And then the amount of hoops that they have to get through before they end up having Matic to mint one and stuff is just kind of silly, in my opinion, in comparison to a lot of other choices. So I find that is a struggle, but I'm just hoping that the entire community together just kind of learns that we need that, and it'll come with time.
Yeah, just like I feel like ETH kind of gets shoved down newer artists' throats without them really realizing that the options, and not even for Polygon, for like Avalanche, Solana,
Yes.
Silico, whatever you decide to do your hinting on. I really think a lot of people, when they're getting into it, if they don't really do their own research right off the bat, immediately I have to go with Ethereum, and then they see the cost of entry to do a project, and then I think it discourages some people, and that sucks. I think
Very much so.
A lot of people get discouraged with this stuff when they don't really do a lot of research on it. I think it's important that we get education into this.
Yes.
Know about it. Hold on, Sleepy. Let me just bring up Sleepy. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's always good to offer options and have choices for everybody to kind of benefit. I always say that the tide raises all boats.
It does. Sleepy, you have a question?
I just wanted to give you some energy and boost, and I just want to give a shout out to this man who's been getting right now. He's such a talented artist, and I'm so honored to be working with him. And also, my friend Deadbot Nation is also here. They're just like I guess they have some connections. These bots are everywhere. they're gonna take over the NFT spaces, I guess. And yeah, Boss of Cog made an amazing collection inspired by Sleepy Pirates, and it's a big honor for me. And I was talking with him yesterday night, and when I woke up, he made 111 pieces and minted them. So he's so fast, and every piece is unique. So I couldn't even believe it, and I'm still not believing it. So thank you.
You're totally welcome. I'm just to reiterate what he was saying is that I ended up partnering up with a couple of people. I'm working with Deadbots on a couple things, and Sleepy Pirates was just the most recent. We launched together a couple projects where I had done my bots in the style of his Sleepy Pirates, and I minted a bunch of those, so you can check those out if you wanted. If you want, I can pin that up in the top, I believe. But yeah. We'll get back to you there if you want.
Let's start diving into your project.
All right.
All right. So, what made you decide to do a generative project as opposed to? I know you said you released like one of ones back in 2018, but what made you decide that you were going to do a generative project versus something that would be maybe a one of one or like a smaller collection? So, why a generative project is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I was looking at doing maybe a smaller hand picked collection where I would do, the assets and then kind of put them together and make my the ones I envision as like a complete set of each robot. But then I thought, like, the story itself is like a lot of the robots are picking and pulling bits and pieces off each other to survive, and like going to like scrap yards and things, and cannibalizing dead robots. So I was like, this is perfect. Like, AI creating robots is just robots creating robots. I don't know, it's perfect. So it just made sense, like, and at that point I was like, well, okay, how many should I do? And I was like, well, I want to do an army, but yeah, so I just kind of kept it low as I could.
When did your collection launch?
It launched technically in the end of December 30th, first or so. Yeah, but I did a New Year's Eve launch for public or private minting, and then after a couple days after New Year's Day, I went into our public and after the whitelist, and had a couple sales after that. It's only been the last couple of weeks that I've started to realize some more sales, which isn't crazy, and is super supportive of everyone. So that's awesome.
Blockbox, did you have something? I saw you had your hand up.
Yeah, sorry. You actually asked it. I was gonna ask him like, if like the 2000 were gonna be handmade or generative. So you literally just asked him the question. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
So I hand drew 175 or 100, close to 180 different assets, and then I have them so that they're set up when you mint a robot, it'll generate a new one. So I don't know what they look like until you mint them, and then it shows up. But I did mint like a handful to myself just for like promotional things and stuff like that. And the first few that I knew were coming out were like important ones to the story, so I have not sold those ones. But they're already technically up in the factory, sitting there waiting to be activated. So right now, like I said, I think we have like quite a few left, like 1,200 or 1,300 still sitting there. But they are already created technically.
Did you write the smart contract for it, or did you have somebody help you out?
I had someone help me out, and then I also launched it on a service called Nifty Kit.
I thought. So I had noticed too on Nifty Kit that you doxed yourself. Now I don't know how certain people feel different ways about this. Do you feel that it was important to bring credibility to your project to dox yourself, or is it just something
Yes.
where you do? Okay, I'll never dox myself, guys.
I find it depends on the project. 100% depends.
Okay. Yeah, so I was curious about that because you say it right in the first sentence on Nifty Kit. You say, I'm Joel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, I was just curious how you felt about that.
Yeah.
Now, the way that you're releasing your 10K project, you're releasing it in separate generations. So I kind of want to get into detail with that. Your first generation, how many total are you going to release, and how are future generations? Are you going to break it into 5 generations, or is it going to be a larger release on your second gen and your third gen? What's the thought process behind that, and how are you going to set it all up?
So the first generation is 2,000 robots, and yeah, originally I was planning on doing it in chunks of up to, but as I've thought about it longer, I feel like it's going to depend on the first release of the first chunk of the story that releases, and depending on how people consume that and interact with it, and how I can kind of interpret that. I'm kind of trying not to be vague about this, but like, yeah. So based on how I can kind of grow the story, will depend on what I release for the second generation. But I do plan on changing up some of the assets by the halfway point of the generation. So I'd say at least the first 5,000 will be quite similar, and then the last 5,000 will probably be mixed up a little differently.
So were you pretty much like a one-man army? Are you doing all of the art, you're doing all of the marketing and promotion, and you're doing the whole storyline yourself? Or do you have a team behind you that's kind of helping you behind the scenes?
No, it's just me. I'm the one man wearing many hats.
That's cool, bro. You don't have to split money with anybody. I like how that works.
It's I do hope to expand. My plan would be to bring on at least 2 other people within the coming years, if things were to keep progressing as they are. Just because I am totally terrible at Discord, for one. Like I feel like I'm like a 65-year-old man being showed by his grandchildren how to use Discord. And I'm like, I can use every other program in existence and learn pretty fast, but like something about it, like my brain stops. So I definitely have needed help with that, and will continue to.
Discord is my absolute biggest weakness when it comes to related. So I definitely feel you there. I've never really been able to get the feel for Discord myself, but practice is perfect, and I keep pushing myself to try to learn it a little bit better as I'm going along. Not that there's much to learn, I just don't like how everything's kind of laid out, and
I think that's what it is. I don't like that sidebar. It feels so cluttered when you end up getting into so many different rooms and discords, and it's just I don't know. I feel like I have been not been taught how to work with it properly.
So do you have utility built into the project yet?
So essentially, I want to have it so that the holders of the bots will get access to the certain areas of the Discord that I have. Actually, speaking of, so that I guess that's kind of a utility, and then with that, you'll get to learn a little more of like my PFP's character, the bots of Cog's world, and things like that, and also. I take into account like the largest holders, and some of those people will be able to kind of have more influence over technically what happens.
Your goal down the line is to launch a game related to this, right?
Essentially, it would be to launch like a gamified version of social networking kind of platforms. So like I want to be able to use these spaces. I want to be able to use Discord, all the way up to like even creating a geocache in real life where maybe somebody has to go and find this clue, and then post it to Discord in order to unlock the next step. So essentially it would be like a game, but not like the way that you would imagine saying video game or board game or something like that.
All right, because I was curious how the game is really going to be laid out, and how it's something.
Yeah, so like for an example, like for the first bit of the story, like one of the first things that will happen is holders are going to be able to have an AMA with Gyro, which is the PFP robot that I have on my profile. He's the main character. He's the leader of the resistance, and essentially he's transferred his AI consciousness into my system on my computer, and so he is a character that you can physically talk to, and he will be giving out bits of his story, and you can ask him questions, and then after that it'll kind of lead into notes and communications from him, and then as well as like bios on different characters that people may have in their wallets.
Do you have any plans down the road to make something maybe like comic book related to go along with the storyline, or something like a graphic novel coincide?
One of the ultimate goals, I'd say, after I'd say about a year or two, I've only planned maybe 2 or 3 years of this, but halfway through, I'd say I'd like to start releasing a mini animated series that is animated in the style of my guys. And it would be like short clips that you'd either upload onto YouTube, or if there was, maybe somebody that I get in contact with eventually that can promote it in a different platform, or get it to more viewers, that will probably be the way that I would do it. And then ultimately, just create a series out of that, resulting in a cartoon, I guess.
So, what social media platform has been the biggest marketable platform for you to work on? Has it been Twitter?
Oh, for sure, Twitter. I tried to check out like a few other spaces. Skirpy has kind of grown in there a little bit. It's interesting to see them. And I did join Instagram. There isn't a lot of like the same kind of growth there that I feel, and I do enjoy the spaces here a lot on Twitter. And if there is Discord spaces, like I said, I'm so bad at finding them and interacting that like I probably miss out on a lot of that. So I should probably up my game a little bit and find some more areas in that. I know the Polygon community has the Polygon Alliance and stuff, and I'm in their Discord. I donated to their giant giveaway and stuff like that, but like I got kind of lost and confused. So, but yeah,
Skirpy's a really cool idea. I really like the guy who's leading it. Talk to him every once in a while, and I mean, what a fantastic idea that he has going. I mean,
oh,
really,
right at the right time, I feel too.
Oh, absolutely. So, do you have any type of idea when you're gonna drop Generation 2, or is that still kind of like a ways out?
That all depends. Once I minted out the 2000, either if I mint them myself and they show up on OpenSea, or if other people mint them. Basically, once I hit that 2K mark, then I'm gonna can start to release information on Generation 2.
Yeah, go ahead, Sleepy.
Yeah, I gotta go, so I want to say goodbye before going. I don't know if you guys can hear me, but yeah, I see a hand, so thank you. Make sure to follow this man, Basil Cog, and thanks for having him as an AMA session, Elon. Thank you. Goodbye, friends.
Bye bye.
So, when I was going through your roadmap on your Discord, it's pretty detailed. It goes for, I think, 2 years. Now, it says that eventually you're gonna do physical merchandise. What type of physical merchandise are you thinking about doing, and is it gonna be strictly related to the specific NFT that the person would purchase? Like, can you get, if I have bots of cog number 942, would I be able to transfer that onto the specific piece of merchandise that I get, or would it just be generalized like bots of cog shirts and stuff like that?
It's going to be a mix of both, depending on what I can source for the merch. But the first initial launch of the merch will actually be stuff that I've made myself, much like my like art pieces, one-on-ones like that. So it'll be, like an actual hand-done canvas of your robot that you carry, or one of your favorite guys that's in your wallet. Or I have plasticast robots that are about 6 inches tall, and they're all identical, but I would essentially hand paint them or kind of stylize the packaging for you. And then after that, it would be, logos on mugs, on certain types of clothing. And for some reason, I don't know why I really want to do this, but I want to do underwear and socks. That is like the two things that I'm like, I'm going to do that. And like both girls and guys. And I don't know why, but I think that would be hilarious to just have like, a robot's face right on your package. Perfect.
Yeah, you could do like banana, like banana speedos. I think you guys in the UK call them budgie smugglers. Yeah, you could have some budgie smugglers. That would be great.
Oh, that's a great term.
Blockbots, do you have a question? Blockbot, your hand up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My phone was locked and all this. Yeah. I want to go back to the gaming side of things. So you said you were planning on making a game. Now, I understand you might not be far ahead, but is it going to be like a play to earn type of situation, or can I just get some sort of idea?
Essentially, so it's not going to be like the type of digital game that you would imagine, like where you pick up an Xbox controller or a mouse and keyboard and just play. Essentially, it would be like how would I, like this at the very base level, let's say it's closest to like a Neopets type of game. And you can take your guy and he'll give you information to go to a website, which then when you go to that website, all it is a barcode. And you scan that barcode, it does nothing. But then when you put it through barcode to text a translator, it gives you a new message, which then launches you into a series of Instagram posts, which all have stories of one character that leads you back to my Discord. Something like that would be essentially what I call a game, but it's just gamified essentially. So if you don't participate, it's whatever. You've got bits and pieces of story. That's cool. If you can go as far as you're interested. But if you want to consume more, you can participate. You can ask these questions. You can get led to those different spots. You can ask for help from community members. Everyone can kind of start to work together. If that happens, that's the ultimate goal. And I'm trying to guide it in a way that it does that. But it's always the market's so organic that you kind of have to see where it goes. So I do have a general outline and an idea, as well as like quite a few points of where I can pivot, but it's kind of up in the air.
That reminds me of how they had that Cicada 3301
Yes.
set up.
I was going to say, if anyone knows the Halo marketing campaign of Cicada, yeah, it's exactly very similar. That's what they call an alternate reality game. Usually they do it for a marketing ploy to just promote ultimately a project. But I figured, why not do it the other way? Have the project promote the game just for the fun of it, for the support of the project itself.
So are you a big sci-fi guy or not so much?
Huge.
Okay. When I was telling you before what your block bots remind me of, no one's going to know this movie. I don't even know why I'm bringing this up, because no one's going to know this shit. There was a movie back when I was like 10 or 11, and it was called French Toast. And French Toast they looked kind of like your little robot, and they were security guards in the mall. And then a lightning storm happened, and they all fried their circuits, and they started killing everybody in the mall. And if you want to watch a really cheesy B movie, French Toast is up there. I don't know when it was made. That'd be like the late 80s or early 90s. But as soon as I saw your robots, I was like, this is French Toast, 100% French Toast. Have you seen this?
I have not. I'm like trying to Google it right now. I'm like getting this regular Netflix movie. French Toast, what? Like you said, 80s movie?
Yeah, it had to be in the 80s or early 90s. And they were security guard robots in the mall. And then a lightning storm made them go haywire, and they started killing everybody. It was the stupidest fucking movie ever, but I loved it.
I was going to say, that makes me think of Chopping Mall, which was a pretty insane movie. Horror sci-fi kids in a movie, the shopping theater or a shopping mall getting chopped up by robots.
Dude, I don't know why I called it French Toast. It is Chopping Mall. What the fuck am I thinking? I didn't call it French Toast.
All right.
Wow, I'm ridiculous today.
Well, we figured it out. Yes, I've seen Chopping Mall. It was amazing. It's great.
How could I mix up French Toast and Chopping Mall? What the hell?
Cheesy door is
all right. Well,
just
now that I've embarrassed myself, let me get back to talking about your project. So I saw that you're thinking about doing like some type of breeding. I saw where if you own 2 robots, you could maybe breed them into a 3rd generation and have maybe attributes carry over, or different types of physical traits carry over into a baby robot.
Yeah, that's something ultimately I'd love to get going on my webpage, is essentially to have it where holders can log in, put their robots up, and essentially rebuild them with their parts to create a new one. So you would be destroying your first 2 to create another one. But that is one of the larger goals, just because I know that's going to take a little bit more contract work.
So who are you doing your collaborations with?
So currently, I'm doing a couple different. I've done quite a few. Now I'm starting to almost lose track. But what started out where I was doing almost like unapproved collaborations. I would just find people that I really liked and that were like very active in the community, and I was like, these guys are awesome, or guys, gals, or whoever. Is very awesome, and they're definitely growing the space. So I would end up buying one of their NFTs, and then the one that I would buy, I would redo in my style or with a robot kind of twist, then send it back to them, and then they can do what they want with it. If they wanted to sell it or mint it as multiples or whatever, they could. So that ended up being like usually a giveaway. And I ended up working with Dave as well. We were talking about bringing the bots into the Goonverse a little bit, but not too sure how far we're going to go or if I should be really talking about it. But yeah, and then I started working with Deadbots and Spacewoman and Polybots. We did a giveaway where all four of us put an NFT in, so you can win 4 different robot styles with a giveaway. And that's just something we wanted to start just because we're doing what we call the bot fam, where I just essentially would support everybody. And I'm surprised I haven't seen block bots before, so I added him as a friend. He's definitely part of the bot fam now. Just essentially what I want to do is like gather all of the robot or cyborg or android or that kind of theme of all of those type of projects, and just like put them in one big list or one big group, and have it so that there's more of a robot takeover within the NFT space. And we can maybe give some monkeys a run for their money, but all as a community, which I think would be kind of neat. But that's just that's something that I just kind of do as my own thing. And then Sleepy Pirates and I work together, like he was saying. I just released a bunch of cross types of bots for him, and yeah, did 111 of them. They're called the Sleepy Pirate bots. I think I posted about them earlier today as well. So there's 111 of those, and I was going to give some of those away over different spaces. So I guess anyone here today, if they want, send me their ETH wallets, and I'll give them a free Sleepy Pirate bot. And then otherwise, yeah, I'm just kind of working away with a few other people. I know Trip was going to try some work where he does his AI learning generative art with one of my pieces as a seed piece, and a few other AI artists like Emily. I think she wanted to do that as well. So I'm always open to do collaborations, but I do enjoy like the just basic, share each other's work and just kind of work in each other's style or whatever. But I want to do something more unique. Like I'm down with the interactivity and the way that like contracts can interact with one another, and it's like I just want to kind of dive into that a little more maybe, but I think that's going to come over time as well. And yeah, just in terms of other collaborations, I think there was a couple other ones looking through like with different things. Like I was going to do a Taco Tribes one as well, so that might be in the works. Yeah. I think that's about it.
So we're talking. No, it's okay. We're talking to Joel. He's the creator of Bots of Cog, a great NFT robot collection. So if you guys could follow him on Twitter, join his Discord. Let's fill his Discord up a little bit, and let's start a nice little friendly atmosphere here. So, have you considered, or are you currently working on making a website for your collection?
Yes. So I do have like a collection that you can mint from, which is the Nifty Kit app website. So that allows you to mint a bot for 5 Matic on Polygon if you have a MetaMask wallet. But otherwise, my basic landing page right now is just kind of a redirect to my Twitter, which is my name, botsofcog.io. But like I said, I would like to overhaul my website so that it has Web3 authentication for holders, and then you can get some news, and then eventually I'll update that to have some mini games on them, and just little other kind of what I call shitty projects that I'm just like throwing together and just kind of want to share with the community, but don't really want to, profit off of. And just support other people, basically. So, yeah.
If somebody bought one of your NFTs today, what would make them want to hold on to the NFT and not resell it?
Is it bad that I don't mind if they resell it? Like, I like holders. If they wanted to make a profit off of that, I encourage them. But if they want to learn more about the story, I think that's where that really hinges for me on people that want to be a supporter or follower. Is like, if you're curious about the characters themselves and like the world that they live in, and you want to kind of befriend your robot essentially and learn about them, then why not hold on to them? It'll just only make you love them more. So,
All right. Have you done any giveaways to try to build your follower count on Discord? Because I know your Discord is kind of, you don't have a very high follower count on there. But
no, that is an option that I definitely should do. I'm going to use that idea.
Yeah, I think it could work. I've seen some projects do it in the past, and Discord is really like one of the global tools for NFTs. So we can build a Discord, kind of track. I mean, you do have your Discord set up. The roadmap on there is set up beautifully. So
thank you.
I think it's very clear and concise of what you want to do and what your plan is. So,
tried to give it a step-by-step kind of look.
Yeah. Just saying, like, don't put something like that to waste. If I were you personally, I would do some sort of giveaway. I mean, you are on Polygon. You have the advantage to do airdrops and stuff to people if they join Discord.
Yeah, for sure.
Some
That's
free
awesome.
goodies.
Yeah, I think we can do that. And to go back also to your other question, holders of multiple robots, like I said, if you interact with the story, and I'm like essentially going to make lists of people that have certain quantities of bots, they're going to have a larger influence over certain things that happen in the story, and maybe not pivotal, huge points, but it will essentially help your squad achieve better things in the world.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, was wondering. I had to dip out for a minute and speak to another group, but so your backgrounds and stuff like that, these are hand done or are these generative?
They are generative with hand drawn elements.
Okay, and then how many of these are you minting at a time? It sounded like you're doing a few at a time, not the whole collection at a time. Is that correct?
So you can mint them yourself from my webpage, that allows you to create up to, I believe, a dozen of them, and you can hold up to 250 in a wallet. And yeah, so you can mint a dozen at a time. And I'll also mint some as well and drop them onto OpenSea for people that aren't able to purchase with Matic or get onto with their MetaMasks.
Well, I'm always happy to do giveaway collaborations with other people, especially Polygon projects. So I'd be happy to give a couple of pieces to you to give away to your holders, just to kind of help support your community and help you do that community drive, whether you want to do that as a Discord, a Twitter, or a Twitch, or however you want to do your giveaway, you're more than welcome to. I like to support projects.
Amazing. Yeah. Please shoot me a DM.
I've also helped some others with backgrounds. So if you have the ability to use Van Gogh artwork for backgrounds, I'm happy to supply you with a couple of them with the request that you keep them as one of ones, if you can, for backgrounds to be really unique. But happy to support you in any way you want.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
That's what it's all about. That's why we do this. We get to meet up with each other. As I don't know if I could do it as good as he does it, but I'll try to do my best. Dave in person. We're a Polygon community. Make sure you follow everybody in the room, retweet what's in the room, and I forget what you say, but I did my best. That was my Dave. So, but yeah, that's what we're all here for. We're all here to get each other's back and try to help everybody succeed, and that's what this is all about. So, it's awesome that Polygon gives us the opportunity to do these collaborations as well with the lack of gas fees. And so, uh, going back, I got a couple questions for you now. Have you considered minting on any other chains like Solana or anything like that, or are you pretty much gonna stick with Polygon, or you don't know what? Yeah.
I mean, if there was some more incentive for me to expand to different chains, I think I would, or at least maybe even consider doing like a breakup of the collection and try to see where they go, just to expand expand a lot more and get more eyes on it. I think that would be cool. But at the same time, with me being one person, I feel like keeping it a little centralized in that sense is a little easier for me for now, just for my sanity. But I have actually, when I first launched this project, I minted one single bot on Solana, on SolC, I think it was, for like 1 Sol. So that was a pretty ridiculous price. So it's like the one robot of Cogs that bought does exist on Solana. If there's any whales out there that want to be the ultra bot holder.
That's the super fan right there.
Yeah.
If you're the Botsacog super fan, go on to SolC and buy that Botsacog. The reason I was asking you is, do you have any concerns? Who knows if it's ever even coming out? It's been in the works for fucking 10 years now, 6 years. When ETH 2.0 comes out, do you think it's going to completely decimate other blockchains as far as having virtually no gas fees and stuff like that, or do you think it's just taking too long and we're going to have established artists on all other blockchains where we don't really have to worry about it too much?
Yeah, I mean, it's taken them quite a while, even since they've just been. It's like, I don't know, feels like they're talking about it like it's Half-Life 3 or something. So it's like, it's ETH2 comes out. I think Polygon's actually going to be in a position that it's still able to further ETH2 and support it in a way that they will actually be stronger. There was a couple articles I read online that actually kind of explained why they felt that was going to happen, and I had to agree. I wish I could bring that up and tell you who wrote it or where it is, but it was a very valid point that it convinced me, anyways, that Polygon has thought about their future enough that they will be set up in a spot. I feel like there will be a lot of other layer 2 type of things that are actually going to be in trouble, though, that don't consider a lot of those options. And I honestly, I don't know. I feel like they're taking so long, though, at this point, that, like you said, things are going to be established by the time that they get going. Like, I feel like it's going to be hard for them to get back up and running as much as they have been.
Yeah, Dave, did you have another question?
No, I was just going to comment on that. I really think that people that worry about the ETH2 layer 2 being a killer for Polygon aren't. It's two roads can run side by side. It's not going to kill Polygon. What's going to happen is going to be interchanges where you can ramp stuff from one to the other exchanges, basically, that you'll be able to take like an off ramp and then an on ramp. And those will be the piece that keeps all this really solid together. It is going to be those exchanges. How are those systems built? And Polygon's got that built in to be able to handle that coming.
Yeah, I don't think it's really of any concern, to be quite honest. I always like to ask a question, though, to see what people's thoughts are on it. Polygon offers something right now that ETH doesn't have, and I think once people get set in their ways, it's really hard to change a lot of people's minds. Just like people that are straight ETH artists, I think it would have to be something very dramatic to make them switch to a different blockchain. I mean, I know people that say, I'll never switch from ETH. I don't care about the gas prices. And I just say, well, you must be rich because it doesn't make sense to me. What's up, BlockFi?
Yeah, like personally, all these people that talk bad about Polygon, right? I'm not siding with Polygon nor ETH, but people that call Polygon, scammers, like scammer projects there or whatnot, here's some words that you need to let them know, right? If you do have the courage to tell them. They just don't know blockchain at all. They just calling something because, they probably had a bad experience of it, or they either heard someone else talking about how bad projects are there. No, no, no. The only difference is, there's certain things you can build sorry, you whatever Ethereum provides, Polygon can provide, right? The only difference is there's not much of a team that focuses on, building Polygon. Yes, it's still being built at a slow process, but when people talk bad about it, those people necessarily just don't know nothing about blockchain. That's just my intake on it. So, like Dave said, you could always take the Polygon route if you're not sure of stuff. Take that, and then later on when 2.0 comes out, you could just bridge everything. Your holders probably have to pay like a once-off fee of like maybe $70. Okay, probably by the time 2.0 comes out, it's probably going to be like $20 or something less, right? So yeah, definitely.
Well, and one example for that I'd say too, like personally I've experienced, is people are kind of rough and or tough in getting out of the ETH ways because you've made money in it. And if you make money in something, why would you abandon something that's making you money? A lot of my friends, they're into crypto. They're not too big into NFTs. So they actually do mining, and they have GPUs, systems, and setups that they GPU mine. So it's like, yeah, if you're sitting there at home and you're making a couple $100 every month or so on ETH just for running your computer, why wouldn't you want to support that chain? That makes sense to me. But in the reality is, once they realized, oh, what am I going to do with this ETH other than turn it into cash? How can I grow it further, or how can I invest into other things? Well, I said, NFTs is a way to do that. And then they were like, okay, well, how do I do that? And that's where they started to wonder, well, I don't want to pay all these taxes and fees to bridge my money or convert it to other things. So Polygon just kind of makes sense. And so at that point, they were already convinced and they moved over to Polygon, no problem. And they're like, oh, how do I now, help me out, get my ETH sent to Matic or wrapped ETH so that I can use it for other things. And so it's a matter of their firsthand experience, right? In my opinion. And yeah, money talks, sadly.
So we have 3 Daves up in the box right now, which is, I think, a first. Crypto Goons, Dave, you're up.
Thank you. I've got some. I'd like to ask lots of questions, but I'll do it later when you finish. I just want to touch quickly on Polygon. I view layer 1 blockchains like as land, and layer 2 blockchains as kind of like infrastructure on that land. Like they're both integral to each other, and they both need each other to work and run. And the sort of final thing on Polygon and any other layer 2 blockchain on Ethereum is that Vitalik Buterin has openly said many times that transactions can't continuously run on layer 1. It takes up too much energy. That energy needs to be used for other things. If he's pushing transactions away from layer 1 Ethereum, those transactions have got to go somewhere. Right now, my guess is they go Polygon.
I agree 100%. So, yeah, I like bringing up elephants in the room, and we'll bring up an elephant that was in the room that's not currently in the room anymore. What do you think about this OpenSea thing? What they did to all of these people with the scare that we had over the weekend?
Oh my God, I woke up and my phone was blowing up and I freaked out a little bit. And then I realized, oh God, okay, I have my own contract. Whew. So I was actually a little happy that I didn't get hurt there, but I was also very saddened that a lot of other people had some people have their livelihoods hooked to that, like some people during COVID aren't able to work. So they started creating artwork and they weren't technologically savvy enough to do anything but other than lazy mint. So that's terrible. And I feel like OpenSea doesn't view themselves as large of a company as they are, or as big of a how many eyes they really have on them. I don't really think they see that. And so moves like that felt like it was reasonable and it makes sense internally, but they have no self-awareness in that sense. And when I first launched my project and I was looking at platforms, I honestly, OpenSea was one of the first places I ever found as a like a space that doesn't just sell high end work, or does like Christie's auctions. And I felt comfortable with OpenSea, and so I used them again, even though when I was looking at it in December, they had gone down like every day for like a week or something like that. I don't know. I was like, oh, I'll check out some collections just to get some, perspective on my own project. And I couldn't get to their website half the time. And it's like, that should be a sign of a development team that's struggling. And I feel like they aren't allocating their resources properly. But after this, it's opened their eyes, but the internet doesn't forget, and they're ruthless. So I think they're realizing that quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm one of those one of one artists with over 600 pieces in a collection that was really frightened by what they said, because really didn't know, was I going to be able to finish the cube collection of people that were collecting the sides of the cubes, because there were 100 cubes in that collection. There were 600 sides in that collection. So, and then I had the originals that was 77. And I wanted to be able to reward all the original holders and give them things, which meant I needed to be able to mint 77 of those at least, just to be able to give one each to the original Van Gogh holders.
Yeah, it's pretty scary shit. I mean, and the fact that they could just do it whenever they want, and they feel like they could do it whenever they want, and they did it whenever they wanted. I think
So I'm really interested in that tool that Bot was talking about earlier, to give you the ability to do your own contracts. I plan on doing streams of tools like that I'm researching over the next 2 weeks to help with the artists in the Polygon space, specifically for Beluga Bay. That a lot of them are third world country artists that are using OpenSea and will be completely screwed if this is a tip of the hand for what OpenSea plans on doing in the future to help control its. They say 80% of the free minting was either fake or copycat collections, and so that was part of their reason for doing the limits that they were doing as well.
My question is, with that, why didn't they implement other things that stop copycats, or why weren't they verifying profiles that weren't just $10 million projects? Like they had many opportunities, I think, over the last few months to implement at least measures that would slow down
copyright
or at least
protections.
ban it, at least in time for them to come up with a better solution. I feel like this was a knee-jerk response to something that was neglected for quite a long time.
The reason behind it is, if you're not making somebody a lot of money, you're just not as important as the guy who is. And it sucks that it's like that, but unfortunately, that's how big companies and corporations work. What's up, Comards?
So I just wanted to ask that, excuse me. So you have your smart contract in place, Boss of Cog, and fortunately you were in the safe zone. But seeing what happened around you to small creators like myself, who does lazy mint, all one of ones, I guess my question for you would be, do you feel like they violated your trust as well as that of anybody that uses them?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, even like technically my collection would have been impacted as well, right? Like I people would have been able to mint to it, but I don't think that collection would have listed on OpenSea if they were limiting at a 50 per collection. Like there would be some sort of impact on me no matter what, I believe, technologically in some way, just because of how linked it all is. and would probably force me to end up going to another service that scrapes contracts. And I have like looked at that before, but like I said, being a one-man team, it's nice to focus on one space and feel like you can get in the zone and have a home there. And yeah, they pretty much kicked your house down and told you that you can't live there. You just get to rent. Like it was very jarring. Like I said, like corporations, I don't really have much respect for in that sense of their mentality, and I understand it, so I allow them to do what they need to do. But I feel like this was a little bit past that. I don't know. Like it was like there was no person in their group that stood up and said, "Hey, maybe we should reconsider this." Like that's where I was like, okay, well, maybe if that's how they're running things, like do you really want to support that, right? Like it's with any kind of brand or business out there, I feel is very much under that kind of responsibility, right?
Well, the good thing about it is it opened up the eyes of a lot of people, and it's going to open up avenues for other marketplaces. And
oh yes, I think it did more good actually than it did bad. Like it was a scary moment, but like you said, it's turned people to realize maybe they do need to learn their own contracts or get people to help them with one, instead of focusing on somebody else to host your work.
Yeah,
and
Well,
that gives you more power.
Sorry.
No.
I was just going to say that I learned from that experience last week that I need to cover my own six because nobody else is going to. So I've been working with Dave Swinebeck and Beluga Bay and a few others trying to get a smart contract in place for our project. So, I mean, it was definitely a good opportunity to learn and try to gain a little bit of an understanding on smart contract. But, I think that in that facet, it was somewhat rewarding because at the time I was like a mess when they'd first announced it because I'm like, well, I can't add any more collections. My overall collection is based on 52 minor collections or sub collections, whatever you want to call it. Well, that's obviously not a realm of possibility, And so, yeah, I think it did open our eyes and teach us. It was a teachable moment, I would say.
all right. Well, we're getting kind of close to the hour, but I want to let you guys know there are options out there for smart contracts. Little shameless plug, AstroZero will be able to do that for you. Don't really like shilling myself, but we're kind of getting really close to our grand opening, I guess you would say, and hopefully, if you have an issue with smart contracts, we have a remedy for that, and we have a drops feature where you just kind of plug things into a little interface and it generates it for you. So hopefully that'll help some people out along the way. So Bots of Cog, I have a one last question for you before we do wrap up. Where do you see your project a year from today, and what's been your biggest success story thus far?
Oh wow. Biggest success story right now, I'd say, is the launch of this whole project in general. Like it's only been 1 month, and I think I've hit close to 1,000 followers on Twitter. 30, 40 people in my Discord, and like the amount of people that have just started to show their love for my concept, my project, and the story itself, and what I'm doing has been insane. And like I'm being an artist in real life too, like it's a smaller scope, and when you get on the internet, you feel like it's so vast, but it's also at the same time there is that many more people that are interested. So I'm really thankful for that, and that's been my biggest achievement, I think, for this even this year. And in a year, I'm hoping that we've got enough story out there that people have started to spread the word out there and tell the stories without me, and kind of just like keep the interest growing, and have more people involved in communicating with each other. and just kind of bringing people together. Essentially, I want to become that glue, in part of that group. And yeah, and I also wanted to say one other thing was I noticed Crypto Mibs was in here too, and I actually have with my contract, she's able to create some marbles out of it and make a little game that she does with her business. So it is another plus to have when you have your contract. You can do cool stuff like that. Yeah, back to you.
Yeah, well, I just want to thank you for taking time out of your day and talking with our community and allowing us to learn a little bit more about your project. Cog is a really awesome dude and open to collaboration. So if you're an artist in here, feel free to shoot him a DM. He's working with a lot of other artists right now, which is fantastic. That's what it's all about. We're about growing this family and growing our friendships and relationships. That's what Polygon's all about. I want to thank everybody who came out here. Please send Cog a follow here on Twitter if you haven't already. Join his Discord channel. Let's get his project growing a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Thanks for spending a little bit more than an hour with me and just talking up what you have going on, and hopefully you didn't get hit with too bad of a snowstorm. I think you said you're on the West Coast, so I don't think you get smashed like we did here on the East Coast, so that's good too. But if you do get some, just be safe, drive safe, and take it easy. And yeah, thanks again. I can't believe I fucking called chopping mall French toast. I don't know how I got that one.
That was funny, but yeah, no, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to what you guys are doing with your project for Elon One. I think it's the perfect time. So, thank you.
Yeah, chopping mall. It's not even close to French toast. It's not even like remotely close. Like French toast is some chick flick from France or something I just saw on Netflix. So embarrassed. Anyway, guys, tomorrow we have Spooky Fresh coming in here. Going to talk about their project. It should be a really good time. Another one of our leaders in the community, so really looking forward to that and sharing an hour with Spooky and team. Thank you to everybody for coming out again. I really appreciate it. You guys are the ones that keep me doing this, and every time that I feel like I want to stop doing it, people keep coming back. So I guess I'm going to do this until the day I drop dead. So that being said, I wish you all a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everybody.